So this is a graph which you might have seen, and people talk a lot about sort of this firm size distribution. This is giving you a canonical picture of a developed country. And in a developed country, I'm showing you basically a frequency, sort of number of firms and the typical size of a firm. And typically the median firm in a country like the US is 4 to 5 employees. And most firms are sort of around that size. We have big firms and a few small firms. But the biggest mass of firms in an economy like the US is around there. And these are, by the way, the most innovative, I mean, this is something that Arif was alluding to earlier. This is in some sense the heart of innovation when we think of where the first burgeonings of the ideas. These aren't the Googles right now, but this is sort of Sergey and Larry sitting in a basement and getting a couple of guys involved with them and starting up, right? So this is sort of that segment. In developing countries, often we find a picture like this. This is what we mean by the missing middle. We find lots of firms. If you look at the bulk of firms, they're usually at 1 or 2 employees. Not even 1 or 2 employees. It's really the family members themselves. This is where most firms are lying. And then you actually see some very large firms. Often these are state-owned enterprises or sort of large multinationals in these economies. Where you see a big gap, what we've sort of fondly referred to as the missing middle, or nostalgically referred to as the missing middle, is precisely this segment. And the struggle we've been sort of focusing is how exactly do you transition? I mean, it seems like there's just an overmass of people over here, and if you could just sort of start pushing these guys to the right, we'd sort of fill up this missing middle. And that's something a lot of people are really putting a lot of sort of brain power and sweat power and sort of equity power behind it, and it's a hard goal, I must confess. It's not an easy thing to do, but that's a space we want to live in as well. When we talk about unleashing entrepreneurial potential, we're really talking about this arrow sort of being activated. And you know, there's lots of, like any other big question, so this to me is a $1 trillion question. You know, how do we start thinking about this space?